Hello, everyone. My name is DonnaJean Eschenbacher, and I will be sharing with you my lifespan timeline presentation. For my introduction, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Beaverton, Michigan, which is a small town almost right in the middle of Michigan. I graduated I graduated high school here and then started going to college at SVSU. This is my fourth year at SVSU, and I will be studying occupational therapy. In the lower right-hand corner here is a picture of my family. I have three sisters, one brother, and one cute little nephew. One of my hobbies is going to the beach to look for rocks and cool shells, so I decided to add a picture here of me at the beach in California. Okay, the first stage of my timeline is infancy, where we will look at reflexes and voluntary movements. An example for a reflex that I used is the sucking reflex. This reflex involves jaw movement and pressure change in the mouth. This reflex occurs when using a bottle or a pacifier, which you can see in this picture here. I'm using my pacifier. The sucking reflex develops before you are born and stops when you stop using bottles. I think I stopped using bottles at around 18 months. My example for voluntary movement is sitting up with support from an object. Infants start doing this at about 5 months and can usually sit by themselves with no support at around 9 months. As you can see here, I'm probably over a year in this picture, and still using the couch for support. I think I was told that I could sit on my own at this point, but I think I still opted to use the couch because why not? Next is the childhood stage where I develop foundational and specialized skills. Some foundational skills that I learned were running and dribbling. Running is a locomotor skill that includes movements that transport people from one location to another. Running requires coordination, flexibility, and control. In this picture, I am in the mature stage of running, which means that I have an increased running stride, greater force on the ground. Arms are moving in opposite directions of the legs, and the recovery knee is raised, and the support leg is bent slightly when contacting the ground, which you can see I'm doing in this picture at my fifth grade track and field day. Of course, wearing my pink Converse. I started running at about 15 months old, and I've been doing it ever since. I've always participated in like cross country, track and field. Those are my favorite sports to play. So, and then I still run occasionally now. Another functional skill that I acquired was dribbling. Dribbling is a manipulative skill that involves controlling an object, which in this case would be a basketball. Dribbling requires coordination and fluidity so that you can keep control of the basketball. This picture of me is from fifth grade. This is my first year I started playing basketball, and I'm pretty sure that it was the first time I ever tried to dribble a basketball. I was never the best dribbler, and I'm still not to this day. Oopsies. A specialized skill that I learned during childhood was riding a bike. This requires a combination of fundamental movement skills and more complex movement skills. The progression of learning this skill would first be Um, Start by using a balance bike, which is a bike with no pedals, and you practice coasting and balancing while using your feet for stability. And then once that skill is mastered, you can use a bike with training wheels to add stability while you're practicing the pedaling motions with your feet. And then next, you would take the training wheels off and then try to ride with some assistance or maybe a boost from a parent or whoever's teaching you. And then once you're comfortable with that, you should be all set to ride on your own. This type of practice is called blocked practice, where one skill is repeated over and over until it is mastered, and then you move on to the next skill until you have the skill accomplished. This is the block practice is the type of practice I used when learning to ride a bike. I was about 5 years old, and after I kept on practicing and practicing, I finally got the hang of it. And then after that, I started being adventurous and rode my bike into giant puddles, as you can see here. Next, we will go through my expectations of my journey through adulthood. Okay, some of the milestones that I plan to be at is in my 20s, I hope to graduate with my master's in occupational therapy and then hopefully find a job working with children and maybe even get a dog to start out. In my 30s, I plan to get married and start a family. In my 40s, I plan to stay as physically active as I can, and I plan to support my kids through their schooling, and then maybe even have a family vacation or two. In my 50s, my children will possibly be like starting to graduate and move out. And at that time, I would probably be thinking about remodeling because I think that's what a lot of parents do after their kids move out is remodel the house. So I might do that. And then in my 60s, I could possibly have grandkids and then I'll start preparing for retirement. In my 70s, I'll be retired and then I'll start spending a lot of time with my adult kids and grandkids. In my 80s, I'll start to decrease in physical mobility, and I'll probably have to depend on my children more for help on stuff around the house and whatnot. And in my 90s, I'll start having decreased vision and hearing, and then maybe I'll even have to go to assisted living. My longevity quiz predicted that I would live to 91. So if that's accurate, I would be happy to live to 91. Okay, in conclusion, as an infant, I would say I developed normally. Um, my childhood was very active. I developed a lot of different skills, and in my adulthood, I hope to be as independent as I can be and as active for as long as I can. All right, thank you everyone for listening.